Hello, everyone, and welcome to As It Pertains to Runecraft, a series in which I will find any reason at all to talk solely about Rune. Today, we're going to be reviewing, give me a second, ba-boom, Alterchaotica, Set 8, Shadowverse Evolve. I know previously I mentioned that I'm not too excited for this set in particular, but I think what I meant by that is I'm not overtly excited for the whole cross-crafting beach episodes for a lot of these characters. I don't think I'm all too excited to build a deck around Medusa specifically, but I do think there are a lot of cards in this set that are more than worth talking about as they bring interesting and really great options to existing archetypes. Now, when a new set comes out, I know everybody puts their thoughts out on all the new cards for all of the classes, but I'm going to be focusing solely on Rune. In future sets where I want to look at the spread of matchups and understand a meta, I think that might change, and I don't know if I'll do every craft, maybe just, one or two extras to really focus on matchups, but yeah, I think I want to be specifically looking at Runecraft. It's what I think about the most. It's what this game is to me, and I think, I spend a lot of time thinking about it and a lot of time testing different things, and I just want to share those thoughts. This is all just an outlet for me to yap about the game anyway, so enough intro. Let's get into these cards. We're going to start with Medusa, Sweet Tooth Medusa. She's a 4-cost, 3/4 stat line that can be evolved for 2. Fanfare. Search your deck for a card that costs 2 less, reveal it, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. Nice. During your turn, when you take out an enemy follower, summon a serpent token. Okay, unique, interesting, very nice. Looks like, I have it pulled up here, but it looks like serpent tokens are 0/1s with Bane. I wonder how good that will actually be. Let's look at her evolve for 2. Her stats jump to 4/5, and on evolve you can select 2 enemy followers and deal 5 damage divided between them. Very nice. During your turn, okay, so this is the same thing. She has a quick ability, bury 2 serpents, and the next card you play is 2 less, right? So I think her gimmick is to search out a 2 cost, you have that in hand, you evolve her, and then you get to play it for free. I don't really know about this serpent token gimmick. It's nice that it has Bane, but if it can't swing immediately, I don't really know if they're going to stay on the field long enough for you to bury 2 serpents to get something to cost 2 less. I wonder if there's another way to summon a serpent. There's only one from when you play her, so you have to play a second copy of Medusa to do this thing. I don't really know how great that is. She's great maybe just to search for things. So let's review some 2 costs that might be, worth searching out. I'll start at the back, or maybe the most recent ones, right? We'll talk about Rabbit Mage in a little bit, but that's really good for Earthright or Veridic. Veridic Discovery is also coming out this set. We'll talk about that later, but that's really good for Spellchain. Magiblade Witch from this current set 7. Right, well, I guess you have to evolve her for Earthright, but let's see. Shikigami Summons is really good. Traditional Sorceress, another 2 costs. Golem Rampage. If you're building a Golem deck, this is an incredible 2-cost search, I think, if you don't already have one. Back to Spellchain here. Craig. He's okay, I guess. Just another 2 costs. Rhymewind, another 2 costs. I don't really know if you're going to be searching that out. Penguin, another 2 costs. I'm not really a big fan of Penguin. I think he's kind of power crept at this point. Sorcery Cache for Spellchain. Really good as like a one-of. I'll get into that later. Oh, I think one of the archetypes that she might best slot into is if you're still playing Lishana, or if you're going to build more Lishana with this set here. Her 2-cost Monochromatic Destruction is massive, especially if you already have the amulets out. So, she needs 2 to evolve, so she would go after turn 4 when you throw down Lishana and get the amulets out. She's maybe a turn 6 play. Yeah, if you're going first, she's definitely a turn 6 play. But then you can get something like Monochromatic Destruction or even the Servant of Destruction, which all proc based off of Lishana and her amulets. So that would be pretty good. Europa is a really generically good, Storm Threat. She's got Ward and Bane, one of my favorite cards ever. Chain of Calling can be good. Dazzling Healer, I think, is cracked and didn't really get the light of day I think she deserved. She's incredibly good. Red Hot Ritual is really good for Earthright, just to clear some boards out. And then Bishop, if you're playing chess. Yeah, Medusa, I think, is pretty okay. Let's jump to Teo, the Prophetess of Creation. So if you don't know, her name is Teo. She got an actual name from CCG Shadowverse. Shame that they didn't just put Teo, comma, Prophetess of Creation, but whatever. When playing this card, banish 10 cards with costs 1 to 10 from your cemetery, and this card is 10 less to play, right? So she's free, 10/10. She has Warden Aura, can't be destroyed by abilities. She's effectively an Aegis, right? With an incredibly difficult and asinine, condition to actually play her. I just think it's very, very impractical to try and get 1 through 10 into drop and then turn 10 play her for, 10 damage. I think there are more efficient ways to finish games out. She's fun. She's great. But I think right now she's pretty impractical. You can build around her. But yeah, I think she's just kind of fun is what I'll leave it at. What I do want to talk about, however, is her from hand ability. So you can discard this card, draw a card, and then discard again, which is really interesting to me. I will talk in a future video about my current deck lists and how I'm playing in particular spell chain, but I don't see using her for, a follower. I see maybe using her as a discard target, right? That is incredible. Discard, draw, and then discard again. Just to, thin your hand out if you mulligan into something horribly bad, or, dig for pieces that you might want. I think her from hand ability is going to be really interesting to play around. I know Kuon does rely on spells specifically, and Onmyoji followers, right? So if you're not dumping Onmyoji followers, that might be kind of a detriment to Kuon. But again, I'll talk about it in a future video. But it revolves around Maisha, right, as a win condition, secondary to Kuon, right? Which I think is a really great way to play that deck now. It makes it so that non-Onmyoji followers that are in drop aren't a complete detriment to Kuon, right? You can still win. You just need some more pieces to line up for you. But yeah, her from hand ability seems really, really great, and I think is going to be worth testing, worth playing around with. I'm definitely going to pick some of these up as singles and, at least just give it a shot, mess around with it. Moving right on to Unbodied Witch. Unbodied Witch. This art looks straight out of Berserk. It's kind of cool art. So 8 cost 7/7. Arcana form Forbidden, right? Does evolve for 1. Fanfare, draw X cards. X equals the number of cards in your deck minus 5. Excuse me? You draw all of your cards and put them in your hand, and you leave the last 5? I don't really know what the objective is here. This is Evolved Unbodied Witch. Stats are still 7/7 from the base form. On Evolve, put each other card on the field into its owner's cemetery. So this is a Bahamut-style board wipe. Your followers and your opponent's followers get wiped. I'm not really sure where you go from this. You have a 7/7 on board. And then what, right? You pass back to your opponent. You paid, what? 8 plus 1, 9 play points to board wipe. And then you pass back to your opponent. If you went first, they now have 9 play points to set a board back up. If you went second, they have 10. They just have play points for days to get set back up. I don't know. This doesn't really sound that great. Maybe I'm missing something totally obvious with this. And if I am, you can let me know. You can definitely at me. But this seems a little gimmicky to me. I don't know how much I really like this. We're going to move on to Lovely Heart Monica. 3 costs, 2/3 in stats. Fanfare. Choose one of the following. Search your heart. Wow. Search your deck for Mora, Monica's familiar. Summon it and then shuffle your deck. Cool. You get a summon off of this. Or you may summon Mora if it's already in your hand. Her effect: you can engage this card and a Mora, Monica's familiar, on your field. Select an enemy follower on the field, deal it 3 damage. Okay, perfect. Let's check out Mora. 1 cost, 1/1. Draw a card, discard a card. Oh my goodness. This might, dude, Mora might be one of the best turn 1 plays Runecraft has ever had that I can think of. Right? Because Runecraft likes to pass on turn 1 and bluff like a snipe or something. Or take your insight, draw, and then draw if you go second, or draw for turn or whatever. A turn 1 draw discard, especially for something like Spell Chain, that's incredible. I really like that. I would almost maybe consider playing just Mora for the draw discard. That is really cool. So you either search for Mora, or you have it in your hand, which is, I think, the better situation. And you get the draw discard because it comes out, right? If they're both on the field, you can engage them and do 3 damage to an enemy follower. Engage this card and more. Okay, so they both get engaged. I don't know how great that is. I don't know if Monica is worth it just to do 3 damage. I get it. They're going for a cute little, like, magical girl and familiar kind of like puppet style gameplay. But I don't know. I'm kind of inclined to not really consider Monica too much. Mora is pretty good. You at least get a body, and you get a draw discard on turn 1. That is... going first might not be so bad with something like Mora. I don't know. I'll try... this is kind of exciting. I might consider playing like 3 of this in a Spell Chain deck just to like turbo mega fast to Spell Chain. I like Mora more than I like Monica. One thing I forgot about Mora actually was it actually does have some competition in the 1 play point, really good effect category that I was like, oh, like Rune doesn't have any of these options. I should know. I fucking played this card. Was Magic Owl, right? Magic Owl was how I achieved turbo mega fast Spell Chain previously, right? I think what makes Mora better than Magic Owl is drawing a card and then discarding a card. With Owl, you either had to have Owl and a Trail of Light in your hand off of the top or off of the mulligan for it to be like the best possible turn 1 play. With this, you do get some leash if you don't already have a Trail of Light. Maybe you draw 1 off the top, maybe you get lucky, maybe it's a spell that you don't want or need or whatever. You get the option now, right? It's kind of like how some people were playing Craig over Penguin in some Spell Chain lists, right? Just to have the option of drawing a card first and then discarding a card. That is massive, right? Instead of dumping something maybe you wanted to hold on to and then you draw absolute garbage, this you at least get the option to draw and then discard. Moving right along, we have Edict of Truth. This is finally, oh my goodness, some Ryo support. Ryo is probably one of my favorite characters or of the Omens, and one of my favorite characters in Shadowverse altogether. So to see some Ryo support is pretty sick. When a Ryo Omen of Truth is put onto your field, banish this card from Cemetery, gain 1 evolution point. Ooh. So this is now a second way outside of Dark Angel Olivia to gain an evolution point if you're going first, right? Because Olivia was one of the only ways to get an Evo point back or to get 1 at all if you went first. This exclusive to Runecraft is a way to get 1 back, right? Pretty sick. And then look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You may put 2 cards that cost 3 or less from among them into your EX area. They cost 3 less to play this turn. Put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. You're looking for 3 costs, just like with Ryo. They go into EX, so they set up for Ryo. This is a 5-cost spell, right? Yeah, so they go into EX, and I think you're wanting to set up Ryo you know, when he comes out on turn 7, you evolve him for 1 or 2, I don't remember. And he puts, you know, he searches the top 9, puts 3 costs into the EX. And let's say, I don't know, like, it's kind of hard to fathom, but let's say off of the top 9, you whiff, right? If you use this to set Ryo up for a later turn, I feel like that's kind of what this card is going for. So it is like some Ryo support, sure, but it still feels kind of gimmicky. I do like the evolution point thing, but I don't really know. I'm not seeing this as being like immediately really good. But I do like seeing Ryo support, right? That's great. We're going to move on to the Zealot of Truth. 3 costs, 2/4 in stats with Storm. That's really nice. Runecraft doesn't really have too many Storm threats, and I feel like they're very careful about the Storm threats that they do give Runecraft. Fanfare, if there are at least 5 mage cards in your cemetery, give this follower +1/+1. That's, you know, pretty easy. You can take the 2/4 Storm if you wanted to, you know, slam this guy down on turn 3, and then in later turns, you know, 5 mage cards isn't really too hard to achieve. You can get a +1/+1, which, I mean, I feel like this is just really good as an early, you know, Storm for 2 damage threat. It's considerably less gimmicky than the Edict of Truth, right? Very straightforward. You can slot him into any game plan. Doesn't rely on Ryo to be good. You know, I can see something like, you know, pretty aggro Runecraft deck being like, you know, turn 3 Zealot of Truth, turn 4 going first Europa, right? So you have a 2/4 body that they have to think about, and then you slam another 3/5 Ward Bane Storm threat down. Yeah, I really like this card. I think this is going to be pretty good, I don't know if it'll be a staple, but it's going to be definitely worth considering going forward. Moving on, we have Elusa, Magic Wonderkind. 1 cost, 1/1 evolve for 2. Let's check out the evolve. Stats buff to 2/2. On evolve, search your deck for an Arcana form follower, reveal it, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. I don't know. I think Mora was an Arcana form. Yeah. So this is going to be things like, let me see if I can pull it up here, actually. So Arcana forms, yeah, okay, this is what I thought. Search your deck for an Arcana form follower. I don't really know if Arcana form is the most desirable trait to have. You have things like Magic Owl, Flame Destroyer, if you're really going for like an end game play. Penguin Wizard, which I've said previously is all but power crept at this point. Chimera, which, oh boy, we need to talk about Chimera in a later video. Saphira, yeah, I don't really see this card being all that great, just because I don't think the Arcana form trait is a really desirable trait to have, or something that you're like really, you know, building around. This is not that great, in my opinion. And I don't want to spend too much time on this now. Verdict Discovery. This card, this looks really, really, really good. I don't really think I need to go into how or why exactly. It's draw 2 cards, discard a card. If you have a Chain of Calling, turbo mega fast spell chain. If you don't have a Chain of Calling, you have a chance to find one off of this. This is gonna make spell chain turbo mega fast, and it's a quick. I just saw that. Holy actual! This is gonna be really fun to play with in spell chain. I cannot wait to get my hands on this and see how good this is. I'm thinking this is a like immediate 3 of. I'm building my spell chain deck around this now. Like this is gonna be really fun to play around. Moving right along, Moonshade Mage, 8 cost, 6/6 with Ward. Mage Arcana form. So like if you really wanted to, you could search this with Elusa. Yeah, okay. Fanfare, draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards. Engage effect, discard a card, select an enemy follower on the field, deal it 6 damage. So draw 3, discard 2. At 8 cost, for 6/6 stats, discarding another card. I don't know if at turn 8 I want to still be discarding cards. In Kuon spell chain specifically, with the game plan that I have, I am not looking to be discarding cards or even drawing more cards at turn 8. 6/6 is a pretty buff stat line, and engaging to do 6 and dumping another card to do 6 damage is kind of nice. A 6/6 ward is really nice, actually. But I don't necessarily think this is gonna be. Yeah, I don't feel like this is gonna be all that great. No, not a fan. Not really feeling this. Moving right along. Rabbit Mage, 2 cost, 2/1. Can evolve for 1 on Fanfare. Summon a magic sediment. So you get a stack, right? This guy's pretty good. Is going to be pretty good for Runecraft going forward. Let's check out the evolve. On evolve, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a card with Earthright from among them. Add it to your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So you basically get a Cauldron Search off of evolve, a 3/2 body that you have now evolved, so can rush into something, and you get a stack right from the base form. This is pretty good, actually. I kind of like this guy. I thought maybe he would just be kind of like okay, but this is pretty good. The fact that you get a Cauldron Search off of the top on evolve, that's kind of nice. You get a body out, you get a stack, and you get a search. Like, this is really, really good. I think this guy is. I mean, I think I've already seen him in a lot of Earthright lists from Japan, but yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty easy inclusion to Earthright decks going forward. Last couple ones here. Home stretch. Zealot of Destruction. Oh boy, we're going to talk about Lishana now. Okay. 3 cost, 3/4. Stat line. Fanfare. If there are at least 3 idolatry cards on your field. So he has the idolatry trait. So this could go down after you have the amulets out, because the amulets, each amulet counts as 1, and this counts as another. If there are at least 3 on your field, select an enemy fall on the field and destroy it. Wow, that's really good. Deal 2 damage to its leader and give your leader +2. Dude, that is kind of good. That is like a better monochromatic destruction for 1 extra cost, and you get a 3/4 body. That is really, really good. Well, let's talk about this last one here. 0 cost spell, Joy of Destruction. If there's an idolatry card on your field, recover 1 play point. If Lishana's on the field, draw a card. So you can play this out with the amulets or with an earlier play like what is it? The Servant of Destruction. So it doesn't need the amulets to give you a play point back, but you get 1 play point, just 1. And if Lishana is there, you get a draw, which is kind of nice. This seems okay. I'm not really sure how big of a difference 1 play point is going to make in a lot of situations where you're playing Lishana in particular. The draw is nice, like I said, but I think it's fair to say that in set 5, Lishana got more of the love than Ryo did. So it kind of makes sense that for this set, they prioritized, giving Ryo some love over Lishana. What I'm going to say about these 2 cards is I don't think either of these solve Lishana's biggest issue, which is she's too slow. Turn 4, you play Lishana, the amulets go into EX. You have to spend turn 5 to bring the amulets out, and then you have 2 play points to do something like a monochromatic destruction. Or maybe you can do this, right? Recover a play point and then play Zealot of Destruction so that you get a destroy. You proc the amulets. Okay, maybe I can kind of see that. You proc the amulets. You destroy something. And, okay, maybe this does actually solve Lishana's biggest issue. So let's say turn 4, you throw down Lishana, right? The amulets go into EX. Turn 5, you're spending 3 to move them both up. You play this for 0. You get a 3rd play point. That's what this is. Yeah, that's the play here. So ordinarily, you would have to wait for your next start phase to heal 2, burn 2. This guy just gives it to you off rip, but you need to have Joy of Destruction in hand, which I think is going to be pretty easy to have. Okay, this changes my entire perspective on what I thought about these 2 cards. They are still giving Lishana more love than Ryo, and I know Lishana's a fan favorite. I'm just not crazy for Lishana. I didn't think the deck was all that great. I thought it was pretty slow, but still, I think with things like Mono and Latica running amok, I don't know if getting that heal 2, burn 2 a turn earlier is going to change much of, Lishana's problem. I think there are decks that just go considerably faster. And then once Lishana does come online, she takes a minute to really burn you down, right? I might play around with this. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't crazy about Lishana when I was playing her in set 5. But we'll see. This kind of looks interesting now that I have put my, one brain cell to work. And figured out what the play is with these 2 cards. I guess maybe I should think of like a grading system. This grading system is going to be all made up. The values are made up and the scores don't matter. It's just going to be some gut feelings based off of what I am feeling about all of this. So, I don't know. I want to put her in maybe like a B tier. We'll do, what is it? S, A, B, C, D. S being obviously the best, and D obviously being like, pretty unusable. I want to say maybe B, right? Because she does seem pretty good. I think the serpent gimmick is kind of weird. And I don't know. She just seems pretty cost heavy. And maybe until Earthright gets its buffs and there's a lot more to search at 2, will we see that really come into effect or actually be of any kind of solid use. I think she'll be cool to play around or try and fit her into certain situations. But yeah, I don't see her being like overly broken or like I need to play this card or something like that, or 3 of or something like that. Maybe I can see this maybe as like a 2 of or like along those lines. She's pretty expensive for what you get in return. Peo, what do we rate her? I think, I don't know. I think she also might be a B. I don't want to be too harsh when grading these cards because I really can see a use for her in particular. So I think I'm going to go with B here as well. Unbodied Witch and her evolved, I'm not a massive fan of. Like I said, unless I'm missing something totally obvious, I think these are pretty solidly like D tier cards. I'm not a huge fan of these. Monica, I don't know. I think this is gonna be maybe like a C tier card. It's okay. I think the better part of the package, it's cute. The little engage effect, as I was saying earlier, the puppet style gameplay is cute. But I think the better part of Monica's package is definitely Mora. So Monica is probably going to be like we'll go with another C tier card. I don't really see how this gets included in too many lists, or how even you can build around this to, make it good. So I was saying just a little bit earlier that Monica is definitely like a C tier card. I think Mora lands pretty solidly in B tier. I can see him being very useful. I don't really know if I'll go 3 of or something like that, or if he's worth it. I think he might be worth 1 or 2 copies if you want a really turbo mega fast spell chain. But we'll see. I think having a Magic Owl, because I love Magic Owl. Having a Magic Owl where you draw first then discard is gonna be massive. I think it's gonna be so much better. Edict of Truth. Rating. Let's see. This one we said was pretty gimmicky. Yeah, I don't know. I want to like this card so much more than I do. It's just not enough support. But I don't think it's overtly bad. I think the one Evo point is making me consider this card maybe more than I should. So I'm going to go with like a C tier card. And I'm not going to spend too much time thinking or trying to justify it. It's not overtly good. It's just not terrible either. This card, I think, Zealot of Truth, I think is going to be like an A tier card. This might be one of the best cards I've looked at in the set so far. Like, I'm pretty certain. With Medusa and something like that, I gave it like a B tier because it's like, I don't really see how good this is going to be. Having a Storm Threat in Runecraft for such a low cost and a pretty easy condition by which to buff it, you know, even if it's just +1/+1, is really, really good. So yeah, I really like this card. I'm going to give it an A tier. I see it being pretty easy to include in a number of lists for a Storm Threat. And, you know, just something to get you through the mid-game. Elusa and her Evolve, this is like a D tier card. I don't think these cards are great at all. Next, Verdict Discovery, A tier. A tier card. Draw 2, discard a card. So stupid. A tier card. Like, I don't think I need to elaborate too much on this. Moonshade Mage, this is pretty bad. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give another D tier here. I don't really like this card. I think at this point in the game, if you're playing this out, that's not a good look. So yeah, D tier card. Rabbit Mage and his Evolve. I think this is an A tier card. I really like Rabbit Mage and his Evolve form. Getting a stack and the Cauldron Surge plus a 3/2 body to rush in with, like, this is really, really good. This is an A tier card. I really, really like this. I'm really excited for Earthright. Zealot of Destruction and Joy of Destruction. You know, I'm going to lump both of these in because right there at the end, I saw the play. I saw the plan. And as much... I don't like Lishana. I really don't. But I think these are both kind of A tier. I think they are better than the cards that I gave B tiers. So, like, when I'm looking at just the cards, I think they're A tier cards. I think they are very good for the deck that they will go into. And I think they play into each other perfectly. That's the reason they're here, right? I still don't think they solve Lishana's biggest problem. She's still way too slow. So yeah, that's Alterchaotica, Runecraft. I think after reviewing these cards, I'm a little more excited for this set than I was initially. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming out this set. A lot of tweaks to make to my existing Earthright and Spellchain decks. I'm gonna be making a video on my deck list, my current deck list, what I had into set 7, soon. In that video, I'm gonna be talking about my deck list, but I'm also gonna be talking about what I plan to change, like some initial drafts with all of these cards that we just talked about, and how, you know, this set is gonna shake up the list that I have and what I'm gonna try and play around with. So look forward to that. Thank you guys for checking this out. See ya.